Welcome to day one of My Side of the Mountain. Today we're going to be doing some preview activities for the first 4 chapters. So the first thing I want you to do is I'm going to have an additional video showing you the sort of previewing the chapter, and then I want you to go ahead and fill in the preview section. And you can type right in the box here. So it says you're going to fill these in before we read the chapters. So first it says, what are the 4 most important things you would need to bring if you were sleeping in the forest tonight? And no technology. So what are some things you would need to bring if you were going to be sleeping in the forest tonight? And then I want you to make a prediction, looking at the title, the chapter titles, predict 2 things that you think are going to happen in the story. And I'm going to show you the first 4 chapters here in a moment. And then we have vocabulary. You're going to go ahead and fill in the definition for these words. So where could we find the definition for our words? Well, the word is gorge, and you can read the sentence. From my tree, you can see the gorge beyond the meadow. And here's a picture of a gorge. And so what do you think gorge means? Well, if I went over to Google, and that's what I'm doing here, I'm going to go to Google and I could type in gorge definition. And right away, it's going to pop up a definition for the word. A narrow valley between hills or mountains, typically with steep rocky walls and a stream running through it. And they usually show pictures of it. So after you've done that, you can go ahead and fill in the definition for the word gorge, which was, let's go back. I've already forgotten. A narrow valley between hills or mountains. A narrow valley between hills or mountains. So you get the idea. Again, you're going to do that for every one of these words. Venture, in which I get started on this venture. And that was actually the heading for the chapter title, venture. What is a venture? Again, go back to Google and do a search for the word venture. I've always been good at whittling. Whittling. Again, here's a picture, an image of whittling, but what does it mean? Again, put the words, definitions in your words. Darting. 3 or 4 in a maple tree near me were darting along the limbs, pecking and snatching at something delicious on the trees. And here's a picture of a deer darting away. So what do you think darting means? I collected almost a peck of mussels in a very little time at all. And here's a picture of mussels. What is a mussel? And that's not the muscle in your arm. It's a different type of muscle, and that's a picture of it. And then the last word for today, I found a marsh. In it were cattails and arrowleaf. And again, here's a picture of a marsh. There's some cattails there you can see in the foreground. So again, what is a marsh? What is a marsh? So that's your job for today. Go ahead and make some predictions based on the vocabulary words, based on some of the pictures you've seen, and fill this in, and then fill in the definitions for the words. That's our job for today. If you want to see a preview so how are we going to look at the preview of the book? Well, if you go into Google Classroom, you'll see in the stream, I've actually posted 2 versions of My Side of the Mountain. One is a PDF, which everybody should be able to get. The other is an electronic pub, and that's for if you have an e-reader loaded already onto your Chromebook or device. But I'm going to click the PDF version so you can see what it looks like. Here's a picture of this is the old version, but an old cover of a boy and a bird. And then you can see a little picture there. And then here's some different, so the actual book doesn't start until, here's the table of contents, right? Here's all the list of the chapters. And then here we go. So that's chapter 1, in which I hole up in a snowstorm. And again, we're not reading today, you're just previewing it. So there's chapter 1, in which I hole up in a snowstorm. And I'm going to arrow down until I get to the next chapter. And you can see the old pictures in this book. This is a very old book. in which I get started on this venture. That's chapter 2. You can see some pictures here. Chapter 2 is actually quite long. Looking for chapter 3. The manner in which I find Gribley's farm is chapter 3. And last, in which I find many useful plants. That's chapter 4. Now, again, this book ties to our theme of survival. So be thinking about that as you do your preview. Again, your job today isn't to read anything. I'm going to be reading the book with you. This is just previewing the story and filling in the vocabulary words and the preview section. Okay, and that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video.